If you have been following the war in Ukraine, you have likely sensed this contradiction. Leaders keep talking about peace, yet the conflict continues to expand. Washington says it has a solution. Kyiv says decisions should belong to the people. Donald Trump warns the world is edging towards a global war, while NATO tells Europe to prepare for major conflict. So, what is actually happening? Is this war nearing a pause, or are we heading towards something even larger? Here is the situation as it is a stand right now. The United States has put forward a proposal focused on eastern Ukraine, specifically Donbas region. The idea is being discussed is the creation of a free economic zone. In practical terms, this would function as a buffer area. Donbas lies in Ukrainian east and around 80% of it is currently under Russian control. Under the US proposal, Ukraine would pull out entirely, abandoning the region and allowing it to become a neutral economic zone. But the plan leaves a major question unanswered. Who would actually control this zone? The American proposal doesn't clarify that. This concept forms a part of Washington's broader peace initiative, and it clearly works in Russia's favor. Moscow has had its eyes on Donbas since 2014, has fought intensely there, and now holding most of the territory. Ukraine meanwhile is still fighting to reclaim it, but the US proposal would require Kyiv to withdraw and accept a strange middle ground arrangement, neither fully Ukrainian nor officially Russian. Not a front line anymore, but nor sovereign either. That appears to be the outcome Donald Trump is pushing. President Volodymyr Zelensky is concerned politically. No leader wants to be remembered as someone who gave up national land. So agreeing to outright is not an option. But openly rejecting a plan backed by Donald Trump isn't easy either. Instead, Zelensky has introduced a third path, a national referendum. He wants Ukrainians themselves to decide the fate of the territory. Any agreement involving territorial loss is a political poison, and a referendum serves two purposes. It gives Zelensky cover and buys time. But Washington doesn't want delay. According to the Zelensky, the Trump camp wants full understanding of the plan by Christmas. That's less than 2 weeks away. On top of that, Trump wants election in Ukraine. Zelensky says elections are possible, but only if there is a ceasefire during the campaigning and voting.
If there is a need for elections now, there must be a ceasefire at least during election process and during voting. And this is something that must be discussed. And honestly, we think here in Ukraine that America should speak to the Russian side about this.
From Kyiv's perspective, security must come first. Amid all of this, Donald Trump has changed his tone dramatically. The same man who once promised to end the war within 24 hours of taking office is now warning the world could be heading towards a major global war. He has spoken about the tens of thousands of dying every month, expressing frustration with how low diplomacy has been.
You know, a thing like that, as you probably know, because you are a professional, a real professional, which is something I don't say about a lot of other people, but you are a great professional. Things like this end up in third world wars. And I told that the other day. I said, you know, everybody keeps playing games like this. You'll end up in a third world war, and we don't want to see that happen.
His argument is simple. War like this don't stay contained forever. Trump's anger is directed at everyone. Ukraine, Europe, endless meeting and stalled negotiations. And while his approach is chaotic, one thing is undeniable. War is killing thousands each month. The front line is barely shifting, and conflict grinds on without resolution. But NATO sees something even more dangerous unfolding. The alliance issued a stark warning saying Russia could test NATO's next, just as it is tested Ukraine before the invasion. NATO's new leadership have openly said that if Ukraine falls, allied countries could be next. As a result, Europe is now discussing things many believed were long buried: conscription, ammunition shortages, and timeline for a possible major war.
If Putin got his way, Ukraine under the boot of Russian occupation, his forces pressing against a longer border with NATO, and a significantly increased risk of an armed attack against us. It would require a truly gargantuan shift in our deterrence and defence. NATO would have to substantially increase its military presence along the eastern flank. And allies would have to go much further and faster on defence spending and production. In such a scenario, We would long for the days when 3.5% of GDP on core defense was enough. We need to be ready, because at the end of this first quarter of the 21st century, conflicts are no longer fought at arm's length.
Leaders are talking about readiness, about adopting a wartime mindset, and about the return of large-scale conflict to the continent. The message is clear: war is no longer distant, it's close. So why does the situation keep escalating? Because while everyone talks about peace, they all want a different version of it. The United States wants an exit before the war becomes an election liability. Europe wants a deal that permanently halts Russian expansion. Ukraine wants justice and firm security guarantees. Russia wants territory it failed to fully secure on the battlefield. Everyone says peace, but borders in their mind don't match. And until they do, nothing will change. The real question remains: are we witnessing the beginning of peace process, or are we witnessing the stages of much larger war? As they say, only time will tell. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe and share, and press the bell icon to keep updated whenever I upload a new video. Thank you.